Okay, students, both online and lecture, but probably will be more online students that will have a chance to view this. But I graded up until almost midnight last night. So if your Project 1 did not get graded yet, I will try to jump on that after I do this video. But I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to see exactly how to do formatting in case you want those extra or those 3 points for formatting correctly in the test, because I gave you all of those options in Project 1, because using constant variables will give you points, and some of you had trouble using the constants as input, like you would list input and number lamps, number tables, lamps and tables. Well, when the value is given to you in the problem, that is a constant. And in the problem, I did show you that this was a constant and this was a constant. So here is an example of one way. I'm not saying other ways were incorrect, but this is the most straightforward way to do your flowchart and pseudocode. And if you did not do a flowchart and pseudocode, that is worth the most points on the test, even more than the Python. So I would not start with the Python unless that's easier for you to code it first, because it's only worth 5 points. And if I remember correctly, you can look at the rubric when you download the test. But here is the problem for Project 1. I'm just going to go over the answer here so that you'll have this to look at before the test. I'll also attach to this lecture this and the Python, so if you want to use those as a guide for your test. So you'll remember these are constants, and you'll see on the pseudocode, the pseudocode should match your flowchart. A lot of you did pseudocode with a lot of words in here, but didn't really use variable names, and that's not really incorrect. Pseudocode is kind of up to what helps you the most in solving the problem. And I've always encouraged students to use the same variable names in their scripts or their programming language that they use in their flowchart and their pseudocode. So here you can see the declarations are in a rectangle shape because this is not input. It is something that is given in the problem. Then we have a parallelogram with our input and our variable names, which matches what's over here in the pseudocode. Then we have a rectangle that defines our calculation. Some students chose to do this in 2 calculations, actually 3. They calculated the cost of the lamps, cost of the tables, and then a final total that added the 2 together. This is the most efficient way to do it. So they've got a variable named total is equal to number lamps, which was an input variable, times lamps, which is 65, plus number of tables times tables. Oh, Judah. Oh, sorry about that. Then output the total and stop. So then I'm going to show you the Python for this. And this Python, I put in a lot of the comments that later on you'll learn to do this, and then you're not required to do all the pseudocode and flowchart. But in this particular test, I will not require comments, but this example shows you kind of what we're looking for. So up here's a comment in Python of declaration of the constants, and you'll notice that this follows straight along with the flowchart. Then this display constant values to the user is really a good practice to get into. I don't count off if you don't do this, but what print cost of lamps are 65 each and coffee tables are 155 each. So this is to inform the user before he enters how many he wants, how much it costs for each. Then here's where the prompt to the user to enter the lamps. And you'll notice that in this case, we've used an intermediary, like a temporary holding variable. And this one just calls L because he's saying when it comes in, remember it comes in as a character string. And so it says, please enter the number of lamps to purchase. And it's going to be placed in the variable L. You can call this anything you want. You could even still call it num lamps and then convert it to float, like this problem that I've done does. It says float L, so it's taking what's in this temporary spot, changing it to a float, and putting it in num lamps. Now, you did not have to change this number to float. It's just sometimes easier to go ahead and have all of them float when you know you're going to be using a money field. Then it says echo input, and you might remember seeing that in our MindTap book. And what it means by echoing input is right after the user has input the field, the number, print it, and then the user can see back to the screen what they entered. So then it asks for a number of coffee tables, does the same conversion, echo, and then our total field. So here is exactly like what's in the flow chart that calculates the total cost. Then here's the part that I thought you might be interested to have. This is one way. I know there are other ways to format, but this is really the easiest, most straightforward without having to include any kind of libraries, like a math library that one of the students talked to me about yesterday. This is a straightforward output, just is going to say invoice total $, and this % in Python is a placeholder. And it says to go to where, when it ends the quote here, it says $dot to float positions. So it's only going to place a digit in 2 positions here. So then it sees this %. It says, oh, I'm supposed to take what's in the variable total, put it right here in place of the % with a decimal point. And if this total, which is a float because all of these are floats, then it's going to put point whatever it comes out. So when I actually run this problem, it says cost of lamps are $65 each and coffee tables are $155 each. Please enter the number of lamps to purchase, and it said 2. And there it printed out the 2. Please enter number of coffee tables, 3, and it printed out 3. Then it says invoice total, which is $595.00. And that's what I told you the answer should be. Now we're going to run it one more time with the other values that I gave you. So it comes up, cost of lamps are 65, coffee tables are 155. That comes directly from this statement right here. Then please enter the number of lamps to purchase. That comes from here. And so here I'm going to this time do 5. And you notice it echoed my input. Then I'm going to put 6. And it echoed the input and then gave me my full total with decimal point 00. Now, just for fun, I could change these up here to have, like, say, 45, and that one can stay 0.00. It's still going to come out with. So now, if I run this now, oh, I didn't change this in my print statement. And I again say 2 and 3, it's going to come out with cents on the end. So that's why float is important. And that's how you use the float value. I think it was Braden asked me about that. So this should answer that problem for you. And if you watch this, and you can scan back and forth, and then I'll include this code in the video. Okay, good luck on the test. And I will get your project ones graded if you did not get yours graded last night before I stopped.